at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Jansen's Heating and Air is the home of Dr. Comfort, focusing on customer care for heating and air conditioning across Central Illinois for some 35 years. Find out their services, specials, and coupons by clicking their icon on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
WTIM. You're listening to the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. The show is sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Reed Kamine. My next guest this morning is Jack Myers, a public affairs specialist at the Social Security Administration. Jack, thanks for coming on this morning.
My pleasure, Reed. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you on. This is actually the first time I'm talking to you. I think we missed you last month because of the National FFA Week and all we were doing for that. But no, it is good to have you on now. I imagine if you had come on last month, we probably would have talked a little bit about National Slam the Scam Day, which was back on March 5th. I'm curious how that went and what it was you were hoping to promote over at Social Security.
Yeah, that is something that we've been doing for several years now in conjunction with our Office of Inspector General. Basically, we've had what we call National Slam the Scam Day as part of National Consumer Protection Week in early March. And really, it's just been a way for us to try to raise awareness of government imposter scams. It was important on March 5th. It's important on March 25th, and it will be important throughout the year. So, it's not that important when we talk about it. It's just important that we do talk about it because we want to make sure that people are aware that these scams are happening. They continue to happen. I wish I could say they're getting better, Reed, but unfortunately, according to data from the Federal Trade Commission, in 2025, the number of complaints actually increased. They had over 330,000 complaints of government imposter scams last year, and that was up 25% from 2024. So these government imposter scams continue to happen. So we all, as consumers, I guess is the best way to put it, we all have to be diligent and careful so that we don't fall victim to that. Just to give you a little background on the data, Social Security remains one of the most frequently impersonated agencies. Federal Trade Commission received 34,621 reports of Social Security imposter scams last year. But something that kind of ballooned last year was the toll or DMV imposter scam. They were number one by a large margin at 154,330 reports. So that was huge last year. Of those people that reported an SSA imposter scam, almost 14% of them said that they actually lost money to the SSA imposter. And the total amount that was reported to Federal Trade Commission was almost $111 million. So unfortunately, a lot of money was lost to these scammers, and we need to just do our best collectively to make sure we know about these types of things and can try to prevent them in the future so that more people don't lose their money to these types of scams.
Man, $111 million. Did not realize that that sort of thing is so lucrative. But I know you folks are doing your part to ensure that it's maybe not so lucrative. In terms of how someone out there can maybe spot a scam, what sorts of things should they look for?
Yeah, great question, because there are some things that you can watch for to defend yourself against them. Some signs of a scam will include an unexpected problem or offer of a prize or benefit that kind of puts pressure on you to act immediately. A request for an unusual payment like either cryptocurrency or gift cards, wire transfers, or cash. Sometimes the scammers are also going to try to make you some kind of promise and make you think that this is an effort to keep your money safe while the made-up problem is being resolved. I've heard, where they try to get you to move your money to a certain account or cryptocurrency or, wire transfer, anything like that to basically, the premise is to keep it safe while they investigate this problem that puts that money in jeopardy. But really, your money's fine until you move it to whatever they're trying to get you to move it to. That's what puts it in jeopardy. So we kind of talk about it as the 4 P's, Reed. Pretend, prize or problem, pressure, payment. Okay. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to create that pressure by most of the time making you think that there's a problem, and they try to kind of put you in that state of panic where we don't always make our best decisions when we're panicked and we think, oh my goodness, this terrible thing's about to happen, and this person on the phone is trying to help me avoid it. So that's kind of what they're doing. They're really trying to apply pressure to you. So just be aware of that sort of thing and understand that that's not how we operate. That's not how real government agencies operate.
And yeah, that I know from hearing about it, that sense of pressure, that sense of urgency is definitely a big part of these scams. And it's easy to fall for when it's your money, it's your life, that they're talking about. Now, if folks get a scam like this, if they're able to spot it ideally beforehand, if not afterwards, how can they report it to Social Security or any agency that might be able to or might want to know about it to hopefully stop it in the future?
Yeah, that's another good question. And if it's a Social Security imposter scam, you can report it to our Office of Inspector General. Probably the easiest way to do that, Reed, is to go straight to our website. You go to ssa.gov/scams. When you're on that page, you can read about scams, kind of some of the stuff we're talking about here today. But there's also a button to report it. So you could report it to our Office of Inspector General that way. If it's a different kind of imposter scam, the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, is still interested in hearing about those things. So you could go to their website at reportfraud.ftc for Federal Trade Commission.gov. So you can go ahead and report that either way. And it is good to do so. Sometimes it's natural to feel embarrassed by that sort of thing, but understand that the people who are doing this are very good at what they do. It's not a reflection upon you if you do fall for it. We hope you don't, because obviously I don't want to see anybody lose their hard-earned money. But if you do, don't be embarrassed by it. It's something that you should report, so that hopefully we can collect enough data points to shut this stuff down, and if nothing else, at least have these statistics so we can talk about it in the future and just help raise awareness to the extent that fewer people fall for it.
Yeah, and having that space to talk about it, I know is important, because yeah, like you said, can be very difficult to do so, because people may feel ashamed about that, especially if they know the signs, or they feel like they should have known the signs. I know there are a lot of federal agencies or public agencies in general, and organizations that work with money, and they'll typically say that, like, they will never call for certain pieces of information. What are those circumstances when it comes to Social Security?
Yeah, so from our perspective at Social Security, we're never going to get you on the phone and then offer to text or email images of an employee's official government identification. We've heard that some of these scammers will do that. They have a fake government badge, and they're real happy to try and share it with you because they want to try to get that credibility. So if someone's offering to text or email you a picture of their badge, that's not us. We don't do that. I'm never going to fax or email or text you a picture of my government badge, nor will any of my coworkers. So that's a big red flag for you. If you're getting a call where someone's telling you, if you don't do this, your Social Security number is going to be suspended and you're going to be arrested, we don't do that. We don't suspend Social Security numbers. So that's a red flag. If we're really trying to, or we wouldn't do this, but if the scammer is really trying to put the pressure on you by threatening you with arrest or other legal action unless you immediately pay a fine or a fee, that's a red flag, because we don't do that. So those are some real strong things to look for. If you see those, then make sure you're not giving them whatever they're asking for. If they're asking for you to pay them via gift card, wire transfer, cash, cryptocurrency, we're never going to accept that type of payment. So don't don't fall for that. The problem with that, Reed, is when you do, and the scammers are smart, they know that if they get the money from you in one of those types of ways, it's pretty much unrecoverable. So once you've turned that over that way, there's very little that anybody can do to get it back for you. So be very careful there.
Yeah, and that is certainly consequential, definitely when it comes to Social Security numbers. I am talking to Jack Myers, a public affairs specialist at the Social Security Administration. Jack, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about a couple other big topics involving the Social Security Administration, anything that's come up in the last couple months, and that'll be coming up right here on the WTIM Morning Show on your information station.
Your information station, WTIM.
RFD Radio Network, I'm Jim Taylor. Corn steady, beans higher, and wheat trading lower. May corn down 3/4, 461 3/4. July corn unchanged, 472 1/2, and December new crop up 1/2 penny, 489 1/2. May beans 1161 3/4, up 7. July beans up 6 1/2, 1178. November new crop 1148 1/2, up 4 3/4. May Chicago wheat 587, down 3. May KC wheat is up a penny and a half, 605 1/2. May bean meal 321.10, down 130. May bean oil up 42 cents, 66.15. Livestock trade March feeders 361.30, up $1. April live cattle down 32 cents, 235.05. And April lean hogs 91.32, up 27 cents. Energy market June Brent crude oil down 414, 96.09. RFD Radio Network.
Tornado baseball and softball, plus playoff games, are on New Country 104.1 this spring. Tune in or listen to the live audio stream of select baseball and softball games, plus playoffs of both teams. Brought to you by
the Taylorville Community Credit Union, the Christian County YMCA, Rural Rentals, and Scooters Coffee.
The purple and gold are coming your way. The Taylorville Tornadoes are going to do it today.
Spring is in the air. The days are getting longer. The sun is shining brighter, and that warm weather feeling's right around the corner. It's time to start planning your backyard fun with Southern Ledge Pools and Patios in Taylorville. Stop by now and get 15% off anything in the store, excluding chemicals. From patio essentials to poolside favorites, they've got everything you need to make your outdoor space the place to be. And while you're there, talk with the experts about the new Viking Cold Plunge, the latest trend in recovery and relaxation. Southern Ledge Pools and Patios, your outdoor fun creator.
Hi, I'm Mark Sanders, and I'm your longtime host, interviewing Shelbyville and Shelby County community and business leaders every week. For some 10 years, WTIM, your information station, has originated its Friday morning show live from our downtown Shelbyville studios. Tune in on AM or FM or online every Friday from 8:40 to 10, brought to you by these great sponsors.
The Sarah Bush Lincoln Shelbyville Clinic and its network of specialists throughout Central Illinois is proud to be the title sponsor of the WTIM Shelbyville Morning Show each week.
Finding a local job in Central Illinois has never been easier. Don't waste time driving far or spending too much on gas. Visit IllinoisJobPost.com. It's your one-stop site to find local, full-time, and part-time job openings. Best of all, it's completely free for job seekers to access anytime, day or night. So if you're ready to land a job close to home, make IllinoisJobPost.com your first stop. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. Brought to you by your friends at the regional radio station.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. The show is sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Reed Kamai, and I've been speaking with Jack Myers, Public Affairs Specialist at the Social Security Administration. We spent the first segment talking about National Slam the Scam Day and all the scams that the Social Security Administration is trying to slam. Now, I've listened to really the past interviews that you, Jack, have had with Grayson Bauman. And I know you've talked a lot about the online features that the SSA now has. And you reached a recent milestone with the My Social Security accounts. Talk a little bit about that and where you folks are at with that.
Yeah, absolutely. We did kind of hit an important and exciting milestone last month. So just for a little background, the My Social Security account is your own personal portal to your Social Security information. So you would go to our website at ssa.gov, and then once you're there, you can sign in or create your account. So what that'll do is it'll give you access to your earnings record, a whole host of other things. You can submit applications through the My Social Security portal. You can see estimates of future benefits. If you want to look at your earnings record, you can see that to make sure that that's being updated correctly by your employers. You can do a lot of other things once you start collecting benefits, like get proof of how much you get. You can get your 1099 for tax purposes, make changes to your address and voluntary tax withholding, things like that if you're getting Social Security benefits. So just all kinds of examples. I haven't even touched on all of them there, Grayson. But with the milestone that you mentioned, last month we hit 100 million. So that's just kind of a cool number. 100 million people have created that My Social Security account. And our commissioner, Frank Bisignano, was pretty excited about that. He was talking about it, said that this milestone underscores what we are working toward at Social Security, which is providing convenient and best-in-class customer service that meets people where they are, whether that be online with My Social Security, on the phone, or in person at local field offices. And, I think that's a really important part of this is this gives people another way to do business with us. And, we want to be the best we can be at providing service. But the reality of it is, Reed, we don't possibly have enough resources to see everybody in the office. So if you are someone who can do things online, doing so is really beneficial to yourself because it's convenient, it's secure, but it's also beneficial to other people who can't. Maybe somebody else can't do that, and so they need to call us or they need to come in. But if everybody was calling us or coming in, it becomes harder to get in touch with us. So by shifting some people to online, some people to the phone, some people to the offices, it really enables us to provide the best level of service to everybody. And, I think that's a really important component here. Not only is it good and convenient for you, but it's also good for others if you try to do that stuff online at ssa.gov.
And then by doing that, it sounds like you kind of split up the ways in which people engage with you folks, which for the reasons you mentioned, it seems like it would make things more convenient. And I know I would not want to sit in line at the Social Security office if I didn't have to. So I think going online works well. And I can speak from experience at DMVs or in Illinois, the Secretary of State office. So yeah, congrats on getting to that milestone. I'll tell you what, we've got about 2.5 minutes left. And speaking of going online, there's I understand there's a way you can apply online for your Social Security card. Talk about that and how it works.
Yeah, so that's part of the My Social Security account. Is if you need a replacement Social Security card and you have a driver's license or a state ID, you can actually complete the process of applying for that replacement card right through your online My Social Security account. So that's a very convenient way of doing that. If a person does need to come into our office, we have switched to an appointment-focused service model. So you do need to have an appointment. And sometimes you can't complete your business, like if it's Social Security card related. Maybe it's because you need to change a name due to marriage or divorce or something like that. So in some of those cases, Reed, you will have to schedule an appointment to come in, but you can even do that through the online process. So if you go to ssa.gov and just look up at the top, it says card and record is probably the easiest way to find it. That's how you're going to get into information about a Social Security card. And this new process that we launched recently is it doesn't require you to know what you qualify for or what you can do online and what you can't. It just starts asking you questions about what type of Social Security card business you want to complete, and then it'll just route you the correct way. So if you can't complete it 100% online, it'll at least allow you to load the information so that when you do come in, it's going to be a more efficient process for you. You'll just take down a number, show that to us when we get here, and we can pull up what you put online. But more importantly than that, it will also tell you what type of documents you need to bring with you, and it will allow you the opportunity to schedule that appointment right there on the website. So you don't have to call for an appointment. So that's pretty slick. And then if it is something you can do online, like I said, you just need a replacement card, it'll let you go through the whole process that way, and you won't even have to come in.
Nice. Yeah. So then that helps with that. Then you can do it on your own time. I'm talking with Jack Myers, a public affairs specialist at the Social Security Administration. Jack, thanks for coming on this morning.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's good to talk to you, and thank you for listening here on the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. You have yourself a good day.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville. 96.1 FM Taylorville. 107.5